Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to continue with the general strategy theme and dig into an element called damage output. So when you have your three Pokemons on the field, they all kind of deal damage differently. Some Pokemons are good at charge moves, some Pokemons are good at the fast moves, some Pokemons are equally split between the two. And so when you plan your team, you can try to think about how your Pokemon deals damage and plan accordingly. So today's matches, I'm going to continue to use the Araquanid, Stunfisk, and Swampert team and try to show you the thought behind the battles and how I prioritize my damage output during the battles and try to get ahead. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So first, we're going to look into our own team and see where the damage is going to be coming from. Araquanid on the lead. This is a split Pokemon, so fast move doing the damage with Bug Bite. Bug Buzz does heavy damage as well, but it takes a long time to charge up. Bubble Beam doesn't really do much damage, but guaranteed a debuff on your opponent. So we know that Araquanid is a split Pokemon. Stunfisk and Swampert, needless to say, they are charge moves based Pokemon. So the must shot really is for charging up the energy really quickly, but it's not going to be a lot of damage coming from the must shot. Mostly it's going to be from the Earthquake, Hydro Cannon, and Rock Slide. So having this understanding is really important, and now we're going to jump into our first match and see how this information is going to help us. So then jumping into the first match, we have Shadow Nidoqueen on the lead. So right here, we know that it is a bad matchup because of bug attack that are resisted. We know that Swampert and Stunfisk have a really good matchup against Nidoqueen. So the question is, when should we switch out? Now, the bug attack is resisted on Nidoqueen, but it might not be resisted on the Pokemons at the back. And considering how bulky Araquanid is, we can actually stay in here for a little bit, charge up some energy, and take a Poison Fang. So here's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to stay in here, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Poison Jab, and then our opponent's going to throw the Poison Fang. So we know that we can take it. It takes around 33% of our health off in total. Now I'm going to switch our Stunfisk here. We already have some energy stored on our Araquanid. Now we're met by a Medicham here. So we know that switch advantage is outreach in this game. We're not going to have it now. We're not going to have it later. So the goal here is to either have a shield advantage or to put this Medicham quite low where the Araquanid can handle. So we're going to throw the Earthquake here because Rock Slide is resisted on the fighting Pokemon. So Earthquake is the way to go. My opponent is keeping track of my own energy really well, and he's throwing Ice Punch, so that means that he doesn't have Power Punch here. I lack the shield because I can get off this Earthquake and do massive damage to this Medicham, and this Medicham is way too healthy for my Araquanid to actually handle with fast move only anyway. So we threw it here, and my opponent actually shielded. So we are 1 shield versus 0 shield from our opponent, which is really good. This is something that the goal has been achieved in the mid-match here. My opponent now switched to the Nidoqueen, and here I'm just going to pause it real quick because you see that my opponent is throwing the Poison Fang right away. And the reason being that he's going to get outpaced to the Earth Power. So my opponent had a really good understanding of the damage output here. He will at least throw a resisted damage move, lower my defense, and when his Medicham comes back, then the counter will do more damage. And also, I'm not in the position to farm up a lot more energy in comparison to if he charges up to an Earthquake and throw it, and I shield this. I can literally charge to 100 energy and pretty much threaten all of his Pokemon at the back here. So my opponent here shows you that he has a really good understanding on the damage output. So we have to take a Poison Fang here, we can't shield, and that's fine. And I charge up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more must shot, knowing that it's gonna win CMP against the Nidoqueen and throw this Hydro Cannon, so I have the maximum energy that I can possibly have without taking another Poison Fang. Now the Medicham is gonna come back, and this health range, if you look at the Medicham right now, is not going to be knocked out by a Hydro Cannon. You will need an Earthquake plus some must shots to achieve that. So you can see me not throwing the Hydro Cannon here and just pretty much trying to go for the Earthquake. And in the process of it, I have to shield this Ice Punch because I'll get taken out if I don't shield it because I'm debuffed already. Now I have to charge up to an Earthquake, and I have it here. I overcharge just a little bit more and then throw this Earthquake at this Medicham, hoping to knock it out. And is it enough? Yes, it is really good. And now facing the last Pokemon is a Lickitung. And you can see the Poison Fang from that Nidoqueen is really hurting me because the Lick is doing a lot more damage than it should. But luckily I can still get to the Earthquake because this is a rank 1 Swampert and do massive damage to this Lickitung. And you can see without this Earthquake, if my Swampert fainted beforehand, then my Araquanid will not be able to handle this Lickitung with no shields left. But luckily, all of this energy that we charged up before come in handy now, and we can throw the Bug Buzz and take out this Lickitung. So very good management on my part, and it shows you if you have a good understanding of where your damage output is going to be coming from, you can make decisions accordingly during the match and try to get ahead. Okay, so jumping into the second match, we have another Shadow Nidoqueen in the lead. Same thing again, I'm going to stay in here, use the bulk of the Araquanid to take some damage, charge up some energy here. Now the Nidoqueen threw right away again, and it makes sense because the damage output from the Nidoqueen is really amplified by the Poison Fang debuff. So we switch out to our Stunfisk, and we are met by Medicham once again. So this is the same match that we just played earlier. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. We'll throw an Earthquake, and my opponent here, he's not throwing Power Punch. So I know that he doesn't have it. So we're going to continue to farm up, hoping to get to another Earthquake here. My opponent's farming up a lot, and here comes the first Ice Punch. We're going to have to let it go. And then after this Ice Punch, I made a huge mistake. So here I'm going to pause it, and you can see I go for the Rock Slide here. And it is really bad because a Rock Slide is resisted on the Medicham, and it's not going to knock him out. The worst thing, actually, is not throwing the Rock Slide, is that I did not even charge up to an Earthquake to fake an Earthquake. So my opponent knew it, and he's going to do a no shield. And what I'm telling my opponent here is that you can just farm me down with counter, have all of the energy that you want, and then throw it at my Araquanid. So that's exactly what happened here. My opponent just farmed me down. And now I was panicking a little bit because I made that mistake. I knew that I shouldn't have. So I brought in my Araquanid, and we're going to face a Psychic here. And I just panicked. I actually shielded this even though it doesn't KO. And we're in a really bad position now because we didn't win switch. We down a shield, and we have a lot of energy. Well, maybe not a lot, but some energy on the Araquanid. But I know it's not going to be very useful against the Nidoqueen. And now we see a Registeel. We know that it's totally useless. This energy is going to go to waste for sure. And my Swampert is going to do all of the heavy lifting in order to win this match. So just a classic example of me not managing my damage output very well, and pretty much just give my opponent a lot of advantage in the mid game. And he had a lot of energy and threatened my Pokemon, so I have to use up a shield, which could have been avoided if I just charge up to an Earthquake. And even if I lose CMP, or if he threw another Ice Punch, at least I can choose to shield and throw it, or take a switch advantage or something like that, something that will help me out along the way. But I did nothing. So my opponent here knows very well that he just needs to throw a Focus Blast, and I have to shield it because otherwise the Poison Jab and Poison Bound will be too much from the Nidoqueen. And if I shielded that Focus Blast, then this Nidoqueen is going to come out, get to an Earth Power, and just take me out from there. So pretty much this is GG because I made a horrible mistake at that Rock Slide there. And now I have to throw this Hydro Cannon and charge up as much as I could, try to CMP tie the Nidoqueen. But because it's a Shadow variant as well, the Earth Power is going to do a lot of damage here, and it's coming through. I have no shield left, and here is how I lose this match. Some good examples here and some bad examples here as well. I hope that you will find it useful for your own battles and manage your energy and damage output better than I did in the second match. Hope you guys enjoyed the videos. Good luck with your own battles, and give a like and comment, subscribe for future contents, and I'll see you in the next one.